This is an NBC News special report. Here's Lester Holt.
Good afternoon. We're coming on the air as President Trump is about to speak in the Rose Garden on a busy news day. The president set to sign the bipartisan Take It Down Act, which would help combat sexually explicit online materials, sometimes generated by AI, also known as deepfakes or revenge porn. The event will begin with rare remarks by the First Lady, Melania Trump, who has lobbied for the bill. The president earlier speaking by phone with Russian President Putin as Mr. Trump continues to call for a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. Let's take you to the First Lady now.
Exploitation. This legislation is a powerful step forward in our efforts to ensure that every American, especially young people, can feel better protected from their image or identity being abused through non-consensual or intimate imagery of I and CII. Artificial intelligence and social media are the digital candy for the next generation. Sweet, addictive, and engineered to have an impact on the cognitive development of our children. But unlike sugar, these new technologies can be weaponized, shape beliefs, and sadly affect emotions and even be deadly. Over the past few months, I have met with brave survivors, deeply loving families, and caring advocates who know firsthand the emotional and psychological toll of NCII and deepfake abuse. Alliston Berry stood boldly for change, despite the risk posed to her and her family by speaking out and making her voice heard. Alliston, your voice and the voices of so many like you made this bill a national priority. Many thanks to members of Congress, both parties, for passing this legislation, including Speaker Johnson, Senator Cruz, Senator Klobuchar, Congresswoman Salazar, Congresswoman Dean, and Congressman Guthrie, and so many more. Thank you all for coming together to prioritize people over politics. As First Lady, my Be Best initiative is focused on improving children's well-being, encouraging kindness, and creating a safer online environment for our youth. Today, I'm proud to say that the values of Be Best will be reflected in the law of the land. I want to thank my husband, President Trump, for standing with us on this effort. His signature on this new law is not where our work ends on this issue. Now we look to the Federal Trade Commission and the private sector to do their part. Today, through the Take It Down Act, we affirm that the well-being of our children is central to our future, of our families, and America. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the President. Thank you.
Gentlemen, nobody knew that. Great job. That was a great job. Well, I want to thank everybody. We just spent 2.5 hours talking to Vladimir Putin, and I think some progress has been made. It's a terrible situation going on over there. 5,000 young people every single week are being killed. So hopefully we did something. We also spoke to the heads of most of the European nations, and we're trying to get that whole thing wrapped up. What a shame that it ever started in the first place. But I want to thank Melania for your leadership in this very important issue. It's an amazing issue. America is blessed to have such a dedicated and compassionate First Lady. I would tell you she is very dedicated In fact, if you look at just what I heard, Putin just said they respect your wife a lot. I said, what about me? No, they like Melania better. That wasn't good. I don't know if that was good. I'm okay with it. I'm okay. I also want to congratulate the First Lady in securing $25 million in the first fiscal year, 2026, budget to provide housing and support for youth transitioning out of the foster care. And I can say that she loves children, and you really worked very hard on this, and you had a lot of help from some friends of mine right here, and a lot of the senators are here and congressmen, and I appreciate you all being here. We're also grateful to be joined by people that are just in love with what we're doing. It's such an important situation, and commissioners of the Federal Trade Commission and the CEO of X, Linda Yaccarino. Where are you, Linda? Where are you, Linda? Thank you. Thank you, Linda. Stand up. Thank you, Linda. Great job. You're doing a great job. It's a big deal, right? That's great. Today, it's my honor to officially sign the Take It Down Act into law. It's a big thing, very important, so horrible what takes place. This will be the first ever federal law to combat the distribution of explicit, imaginary, posted without subject's consent. They take horrible pictures, and I guess sometimes even make up the pictures, and they post it without consent or anything else. And very importantly, this includes for forgeries generated by artificial intelligence known as deepfakes. We've all heard about deepfakes. I have them all the time, but nobody does anything. I asked Pam, can you help me, Pam? She says, no, I'm too busy doing other things. Don't worry, you'll survive. But a lot of people don't survive. That's true, and so horrible. With the rise of AI image generation, countless women have been harassed with deepfakes and other explicit images distributed against their will. This is the wrong, and it's just so horribly wrong. And it's a very abusive situation, like in some cases people have never seen before. And today we're making it totally illegal. Thank you. Upon hearing the stories of so many women affected, our First Lady made stopping these abuses a top priority, and she was given tremendous support because she'd go up to people and talk about it. They say, yeah, we know about it. We have the problem. Can we do something? And she did something about it with the help of a lot of the people, especially the political people sitting here today. Among Melania's guests in the gallery during my address to the joint session of Congress was a 15-year-old young person, Elliston Berry, whose image was turned into an illicit deepfake by a peer. Elliston, where are you? Are you around? Stand up, darling. That's fine. Beautiful. Great. Thank you. You look fantastic. Elliston quickly became a powerful advocate committed to preventing other girls from suffering the same abuse. Elliston, we salute you and we thank you very much, and it's an honor to have you with us today. Great job you've done. Also with us are several other brave Americans whose lives were rocked by online harassment, including Francesca Manny, as well as a South Carolina State Representative, Brandon Guffey, and his family, who have lost their son to suicide after he was targeted in an internet extortion scam, of which you have a lot of them, a lot. I want to thank you both for your incredible work and to reach this important day. Could you stand up, please? Thank you. Thank you very much. Great job. I've read about it. Thank you very much. It's a real honor to have you here, because there's no place like the White House, I found out. You know, you have a lot of places, and I just left some of the richest places, and we loved them, and they gave us a nice contribution of about $5 trillion, but this is a special place. Even they talk about it, so it's great to have everybody here. Under the law, I will sign in just a moment. Anyone who intentionally distributes explicit images without the subject's consent will face up to 3 years in prison. In addition, this law establishes new civil liabilities for online platforms that refuse to take these images down promptly upon request. We will not tolerate online sexual exploitation, and especially it's gone on at levels that nobody's ever seen before. It's getting worse and worse, and I think this is going to hopefully stop it. and not easy to do. People talked about all sorts of First Amendment, Second Amendment. They talked about any amendment they could make up, and we got it through because of some very brave people, including some very brave politicians in the audience. I want to thank the bill's sponsors, Senator Ted Cruz. Ted, stand up, please. Great. Great. Thank you, Ted. That's great. Very effective person. And Congresswoman Maria Salazar, friend of mine. Thank you, Maria. Thank you very much for their amazing work. And thanks also to the 99 senators and 408 members of Congress who voted in favor of the bill. Wow, I wish we could get that vote from other things. We have another bill coming up. Do you think we'll get that vote? Maybe not. We should, but we probably won't. But working with our First Lady, we've shown that bipartisanship is still possible. That's true. With 99 senators, that's incredible. Senators, stand up. Look at that. John, you're here. Look at all of the senators. This is big stuff. I'm in trouble because I don't have your names. They didn't give me these names. We have so many. We have half of the Senate here. Now they're all going to hate me because I can't introduce you. Oh, we don't have the time for that. I have to get back to Putin and people. But thank you very much for being here, all of you, and congressmen, a lot of them, and women. Working with our First Lady, though, we've shown that bipartisanship is possible. I mean, it's the first time I've seen such a level of bipartisanship, and it's a beautiful thing to do. I'm not even sure you realize, honey, you know, a lot of the Democrats and Republicans don't get along so well. You've made them get along, and she didn't even know about that. She didn't know we had a problem. She didn't know we had a problem. She got it. But I want to thank you, honey. You've done amazing that this was done when you started. And I said, I don't know, it sounds like a tough one, and yet a very important one, and you got it done. So I congratulate you, and I congratulate Ted, Maria, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you. And we'll sign the bill. Thank you. You're going to sign it, too? No, I'm not signing it. Oh. That's your name, Chuck Wesley. It's been around a long time, huh? Come on around. That's beautiful. Come on around. Hey, look at that.
Thank you.
You did it. Put it out of our got it.
President Trump now signing the Take It Down law into law. This is a bill that criminalizes non-consensual intimate imagery. It gives victims of online abuse an opportunity to raise their objection and puts a limit on social media sites as to how quickly they have to move to take down some of this imagery, also referred to by several names, including revenge porn. I want to bring in our senior Washington correspondent, Hallie Jackson. Hallie, the president mentioned it, but it was worth repeating. This is true bipartisan legislation being signed here.
Lester, there's not much these days that can get 400-plus votes of support in the House of Representatives. This bill did. It passed through the Senate via unanimous consent. There is so much bipartisan support for something like this, which does criminalize individually, and this is important here, the publishing of these images, known as, AI deepfake porn, essentially, along with what's often called revenge porn. And the reason why this is important, this isn't something where amorphously these big tech companies are on the hook for liability here. This punishes the individual person who knowingly publishes these images online. It then gives these tech companies 48 hours to take it down. We talked about the bipartisanship here in Washington. What's also notable, Lester, is that sometimes when you have bills like these, now a law that takes on tech companies, the tech companies are maybe on the opposite side of the argument. Not in this case. You have companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta that are all in support of this Take It Down Act. So this really is, in many ways, a unified front. To the degree that there is any pushback on this, Lester, it comes from privacy advocates, for example, some of whom worry that this law could be abused or manipulated by people in power. But largely, you're seeing a lot of support. And it's because of people like the woman you're about to see, the teenager you're about to see on the left side of your screen in the white. That's Elliston Berry. You, I know, are familiar with her. She has been featured on our programs here at NBC News. She's a teenager, high school student who found herself the victim of this AI deepfake imagery. Her picture passed around found without her consent, created by AI. And she has talked about how she did not know what to do. Her mother did not know what to do. There was nothing on the books to help her for this, to create some accountability here. And that's why she, her mom, and others have taken this now to the steps of Congress and here to the White House to try to get something done, Lester. Notable, too, that the First Lady, Melania Trump, this is really a big moment for her, one of the first big moments that we've seen where she's taken on this mantle of her Be Best initiative in this second term, Lester.
Yeah, a rare sighting of the First Lady in this second Trump term. We want to note the President and First Lady appear to be making their way out of the Rose Garden. The President mentioned he has more calls to make. He talked on another matter, talked about some of the important calls he's made today with regard to peace in Ukraine and pressing the leaders for negotiation. Let me bring Gabe Gutierrez into the conversation on that. Gabe, where do we stand?
Hi there, Lester. Well, I just tried to ask President Trump whether he planned to meet face-to-face with Vladimir Putin. He appears to have backed off what he had said last week, that in order to have a permanent ceasefire in Ukraine, or even a 30-day ceasefire, he would need to meet face-to-face with Putin. Earlier today, you heard him talk about it right there. He had about a 2.5-hour phone call with Putin. After that, he spoke with Ukrainian President Zelensky, as well as top European leaders as well. There was an agreement to start negotiations immediately for some type of ceasefire, but notably no ceasefire was agreed to during this call. No announcement of any sanctions. Just basically they came to an agreement to keep talking. Now, a lot of questions about where we go from here and when these negotiations will take place. The president saying that the Pope has offered to host these negotiations at the Vatican, and there still remain questions about how long this might drag on for, whether the U.S. might sanction Russia eventually. Earlier today, the White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt said that sanctions against Russia were not off the table. Over the last several days, we've also seen a bit of a softening of tone with regards to Ukraine. Yesterday, Vice President J.D. Vance meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky in Italy, and earlier today, speaking with reporters as he left Italy, said that it could be possible that the U.S. was more than willing to leave these negotiations if Vladimir Putin was not serious about peace. Of course, that would be something that Ukraine would not want. They don't want the U.S. to leave these negotiations. But the president, this was a very high-stakes phone call earlier today, and that Vladimir Putin actually spoke publicly first after the call, called it very constructive. But no deliverables here, just simply an agreement to keep these negotiations going on. You just heard the president reference that at the top of his remarks at this Rose Garden event, Lester.
All right, Gabe Gutierrez, thank you. That concludes this NBC News special report. We'll have much more ahead on our streaming network, NBC News Now, online at NBCNews.com, and a full wrap-up when I see you back here for NBC Nightly News. I'm Lester Holt in New York. Good day, and thank you for watching. Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.